Do. Alexa, louder. All right, what's up, guys? Good morning and happy Monday. Welcome back. Hope you all had a good weekend. Maybe a few of you enjoyed some March Madness. Great game last night. The Houston Cougars taking the W in overtime. But with that being said, I'm a little bit tired. Didn't go to bed too early, and I'm trying to get off caffeine cold turkey this week. So that'll be interesting. But all right, y'all, we'll jump in here. Quick look at the futures. Little bit sloppy as far as the signals go. S&P futures down about a third. And we've got a sell signal on the 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, and the 5-minute. And then as far as squeezes go, we've got a 5-minute squeeze. So maybe a morning where you're a bit patient. Me personally, I don't want to short the market until proven wrong. But before I can jump in here and get long, they got to do a little bit of cleanup. Get rid of the 15-minute sell signal, get rid of the 30, get rid of the 1 hour, and then we take it from there. And then on the NQ is down about 0.5%. We haven't seen selling pressure like this in months. We've got a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute sell signal and a squeeze on the 5-minute, 2 hour, the daily, and the 2-day. And the big boy, the big signal, until things change, has got to be that 2-day squeeze. I do not want to fight the squeeze. Above the trailing stop, structure is bullish, the squeeze is bullish, the signals are bullish, and we got ourselves a 12 out of 12. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the market will be closed on Friday for the Good Friday before Easter. So keep that in mind. Short weeks can always be a little interesting. And then a quick look here at the economic calendar. I don't think we got too much. A couple of Fed speakers today. Not too much tomorrow. We got a Fed speaker on Wednesday, and then the jobless claims on Thursday. And then we're out of here on Friday. But all right, so for my swing trade watch list, I'll pull it up here. And I'll keep it over here in the left-hand corner. Just in case you want to write a few names down. But we'll get going through here. And the two names we traded last week were Microsoft and Best Buy, both of which worked out pretty good. We had the slingshot squeeze here in Microsoft. And we jumped in on Tuesday. Where's my daily chart? We jumped in on Tuesday, the day before the Fed. Caught ourselves the breakout, caught a gap up, and we cashed out. Pretty easy trade. And then Best Buy, that was a bit easier. We jumped into that squeeze on Thursday, caught a gap up into Friday, and we took the cashola. Pretty painless trades. But all right, for the watch list here, we shall start from the top. And first up is Lilly, LLY. We got the slingshot squeeze. We have a 2 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, and a 5-minute squeeze below that. The only thing to keep in mind, we've got the ATR trailing stop up here around 790. In the event they push things towards that 790, that might be a little resistance. That might be a bit of a brick wall. If they can get the positive shift of the trailing stop, Then I think you get your breakout above that 800. So we're keeping an eye on Lilly, and then Amazon here. Amazon has a daily squeeze, a 15-minute, and a 5-minute. And as far as a daily squeeze goes, we are above the trailing stop. Structure is bullish. You got the slingshot, and we got a 10 out of 12. One thing to consider, mid-April, end of April, we're going to be rolling into earnings season. So I do think for names like Microsoft, Meta, Netflix, Amazon, etc., they've got these 2-day squeezes. They've got these daily squeezes. In the event they do fire to the upside, that might kick off the run towards earnings. Something to consider. But for these on here, if they can fire that squeeze, I think you're looking for a push towards 185-ish. Next up is NVIDIA. And no daily squeeze here for NVIDIA, but a perfect daily chart. Perfect 12 out of 12. And we do have a squeeze down here on the 4-hour time frame. If you don't have a daily squeeze, a 4-hour squeeze is pretty much the next best thing. If that can fire, I think that takes NVIDIA towards 980 to $1,000. 1,000 buckaroos. And it looks like NVIDIA is going to open up pretty much flat. 941, 942-ish. So keep an eye on that 4-hour squeeze for NVIDIA. And then we got Goldman here. And Goldman finally broke out last week. It only took about 2.5 to 3 months. So I think the name of the game here, can they keep it above that 400? Resistance, resistance, resistance over and over again. Finally get the breakout. I think on any pullback that sees Goldman holding above that big 400, you can buy it and you can look for continuation higher. The daily squeeze hasn't even fired, and you got a perfect 12 out of 12. We have a 2-day squeeze and a 3-day squeeze. Some nested squeeze action. 2-day squeeze fires. You're looking for about 425-ish. 3-day squeeze fires. Looking for pretty much the same, right? 420, 425. If you check out the monthly squeeze, and it's a good-looking monthly squeeze, if that can fire to the upside, you're looking for about 450. So think in terms of risk reward. If I get a little dip this morning, 405, 404, if I jump in and buy it, my exit is going to be a break back under 400. If I can buy it around 405, I'm going to risk about $5 or $6. And then from there, if they can fire the daily squeeze, fire the 2-day squeeze, fire the 3-day, and then maybe from there they fire that monthly squeeze, you're looking at about $30 to $40 of upside. I don't think too shabby. Risking 5 to make about 30 or 40. So I do like Goldman there. And then next up is Square, SQ. Brand new squeeze, good structure. Above the trailing stop, you got the buy signals. And we've also got a squeeze on the 4-hour. I think the 4-hour squeeze, that's a one to watch. If they can fire that to the upside, they probably get the daily squeeze going. If they can't quite fire the 4-hour squeeze, it might be a little bit more hurry up and wait. So Square is a bit interesting. And then Best Buy. Like I mentioned, we traded Best Buy last week. A pretty good push, but they haven't fired the squeeze just yet. And we got a few of them. The daily time frame, the 2-day time frame, the 3-day, and the weekly. Off goes the daily squeeze. Next up is a 2-day. Off goes the 2-day. Next up is the 3-day. So on and so on. And then for Microsoft here, they did fire the daily squeeze. They haven't quite fired the 2-day. And again, like I said, we're maybe at a point where we're looking for a few run into earnings kind of trades. If you're looking for a run into earnings, I think you want to find a bigger time frame squeeze. If the structure lines up, the momentum lines up, you got the squeeze. If everything already points towards a push higher, and then you've got earnings coming up in 4, 5, 6+ weeks, that can tend to be a pretty good combination. So if I can find a spot to buy it here, I'm thinking 440, 450 calls for the earnings expiration, which I believe is towards the end of April. 3rd or 4th week of April. So there's Microsoft. And then next up is ARM. A little daily slingshot squeeze action. I like that pattern. They gap it up. They pump it in, they pump it. Pulls back to a 21 EMA. Perfect hold to structure. Now we're getting that momentum turn, and that gives us the slingshot squeeze. So ARM's kind of interesting, and then 2 more for you. On a crowd, you have a 5-minute, 4-hour, a daily, and a 2-day squeeze. And the daily squeeze has the slingshot. And then the last one here would be Domino's. I'm more of a Papagino's guy, but no biases. Domino's has a 15-minute, a 30-minute, and a daily squeeze. So pretty much across the entire watch list there, same idea. Lilly, we've got the slingshot squeeze in the QQQ, the slingshot in XLK. You got one in Amazon. You've got the 4-hour squeeze in NVIDIA. You've got the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day, and the monthly squeeze in Goldman. The 4-hour and the daily in Square. Best Buy has the 15-minute daily, 2-day, 3-day, and the weekly. Microsoft has the 2-day squeeze. You got a few there in ARM. You got a few here in Crowd, and then a few in Domino's. Different sectors, different stocks, pretty much all the same idea. They've got compression. The squeeze gives you compression. You take that compression, and then you're looking at your path of least resistance indicators. Whatever you're using to gauge a structure, whatever you're using to gauge a momentum, you find the squeeze, you find the compression. You look at your indicators. If they point towards path of least resistance being to the upside, you try to fight for a good entry. And in my book, a good entry, somewhere near your 21 EMA. The closer, the better. So that's what I got for y'all. If you got any questions, anything you want to take a look at, better yet, anything you think I should add to my watch list, throw it on over. I've got room for a few more. Room for a few mo. Did we forget Meta? Oh, how dare I? My apologies. I forgot Meta. How rude of me. Meta, same idea. Daily squeeze, slingshot. All the fixins for a pre-earnings push. How did I forget Meta? Netflix. Yeah. The no caffeine is kind of killing me here. Netflix, a lot of squeeze action here in Netflix. Daily, 2-hour, 1 hour, 30, and the 15. If they all fire one after the other, I think you're looking for a push towards the big bad 650. But all right, guys, let me get caught up in the chat, and I'll see what you got. Hit me with the best shot. I'm a little sad the market's closed on Friday. I feel a little bit robbed, a little bit duped, but we'll take it. 3-day weekend's not always the worst thing. A little bit more time for the family, a little bit more time to walk your dog, walk your cat, walk your alpaca, whatever you got. Green eggs and cam. That's a good username. Yeah, Bitcoin. Let's go take a peek. Bitcoin up a casual 5%. Ooh, Nelly. Got a brand new daily squeeze. As a general statement, that's my favorite pattern. Big push off that 21 EMA. And they're going for it, they're going for it, they're going for it. Then you get the reversion to the mean. Pull back to the 21 EMA. Support holds perfectly. The structure holds perfectly. And now they're spitting out a brand new squeeze. I've got to like that. Any brand new daily squeeze in an uptrend, I'm going to tend to be a fan. I am a fan. Not immediately, right? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I do think with patience here, you should look for continuation higher out of that squeeze, which would imply that names like Coin. Yep, there goes Coin. Coin's gapping up about $7. Let's go check MSTR. MSTR gapping up about 70. A cool $70. If that pattern can unfold for Bitcoin, all right, big push, pulls back to a 21 EMA, brand new squeeze. And then from that daily squeeze, they keep the party going higher. Should be good for Coin, should be good for MSTR, should be good for BITO. The old BITO. Yeah, I like it. Good structure, uptrend, brand new squeeze, perfect hold of that 21 EMA. All kinds of good stuff. RH for a move into earnings. Restoration Hardware. So when I say run into earnings, I'm thinking like 2 to 3 to maybe 4 weeks out. So a better example for me would be a Meta, a Microsoft, and Netflix. They've all got good structure. They've all got bigger time frame squeezes. But you've got a pretty good window between now and the earnings announcement. Meta is end of April. Microsoft is end of April. That's kind of my preference, where for a name like RH, we've got earnings coming up on 3/27, which would be Wednesday. For me, a little bit too early for a big run into earnings. But hey, if anything, look for a lower time frame squeeze. Could be a 15-minute, could be a 30-minute, and 1 hour. Try to find a lower time frame squeeze. And if they've got one more pop in it before the announcement, you might catch that pop through that lower time frame squeeze. And the way that I would play it, heading into the earnings announcement, the out the money calls, the out the money puts, they hold their premium. You're not fighting the theta like you typically would. So the way that I would play it, give me a 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. Then I would jump in. I would buy the out the money call for this Friday's expiration. If they pump it one more time, You got a little cash coming through, little cashola. If they don't push it higher, you're not going to get creamed on the theta. Assuming, of course, you take off the trade before earnings, which I think, at least for me, is ideal. I want to play it into earnings, and then I want to take it off before the actual announcement. Run for cover. Hey, Scott, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Dow and Visa. Yeah, I think Dow Chemical looks pretty good. Memory serves me correct. Yeah, I like it. And if I'm playing a daily squeeze, I wouldn't call it a requirement, but one of my favorite things is I got a good looking daily squeeze, just like DOW. And then inside that daily squeeze, you got a 4-hour. Microsoft had that, Best Buy had that. The 4-hour squeeze inside of your daily squeeze, that can really get the party going. 4-hour squeeze fires, that can trigger a push towards 59. 59 to 59.50. If they can take it to 59, 59.50, there's a pretty good chance they're going to fire that daily squeeze. So the 4-hour squeeze can be a bit of a party starter. They take that higher, that can light the fuse. Then comes your daily squeeze, and they keep the party going. So yeah, I like Dow, and then I think Visa's looking pretty good as well. Pretty good pullback there on Friday. Pretty good pullback, but really no issues. It's above the trailing stop. The structure is good. Scott, I think between the two, DOW and Visa, I might like Dow a little bit more. Let's compare the scoreboard. Visa gets a 6 out of 12. Dow gets a 12 out of 12. Between the two, I think you got to go with DOW. Now, you might take DOW, and that might fall apart. And meanwhile, Visa just rockets and takes out the highs. But over the course of 50 trades, 100 trades, 500 trades, we want to go with the names that grade out a little bit better. That's where I think we can get a bit more consistency. Hey guys, I'm curious. We got a construction crew working upstairs above me. Can you hear anything? Like, can you hear the power tools and all the banging? I'm hoping you can't. Oh, beautiful. All right. That is good to know. That is good to know. So, David, for scans, give me. Hold on, guys. Are they knocking on my door? Hola. No, we're good. So David, for the scans, the two that I'm using right now would be the Big 3 Bull Squeeze. And we'll pull that puppy up right here. Big 3 Squeeze Bull, rather. It won't work until the market opens, but the Big 3 Squeeze Bull scan, that scans for a squeeze and a buy signal. The other scan I run would be the Slingshot Squeeze. Big 3 Slingshot Bull. All right, Amazon QQQ, ARM. If we're in a bit of a bear market, then I run the bear scans. Big 3 Squeeze Bear or the Slingshot Bear. And when we push the update, I'll give you guys the new scans. They're pretty much the same, but they have been tweaked just a little bit. So those should be coming out here sometime very soon. All right, let me jump over here to YouTube. Good morning, folks on YouTube. Yeah, ELV. I forgot about ELV. Yeah, how am I forgetting ELV? It's beautiful. I think somebody snuck into my office last night and took a few names off my watch list. Yeah, I mean, ELV's gorgeous. She's gorgeous, George. 2-day squeeze, a daily squeeze, a 4-hour, a 2-hour, a 1-hour, and a 30-minute. All kinds of good looking stuff. It's even got a monthly squeeze. Monthly squeeze and a slingshot. So I think ELV looks great. And then for Autodesk, yeah, not too bad either. Now the thing about these daily squeezes, you find a daily squeeze, you got good structure, it's above the trailing stop. You get all the pretty colors. All that does is just set the stage for what might be a good push. That's all they do. Let me go find the screenshot here. Best Buy. Here we go. When you find a good-looking weekly squeeze or a daily squeeze, whatever the time frame might be, think of that like a ticking time bomb. I got to squeeze, all the indicators line up. That tells me that sometime soon, that might make a big move. That's all that tells me. From there, I got to figure out when are we going to get that big move? How can I really improve my timing so that I find my squeeze, I take my entry, and I think ideally, as soon as I take my entry, I want to get pushed into a profit. What I don't want to do is, all right, I've got a daily squeeze here on Best Buy. I'm going to jump in, I'm going to buy my calls, and then 5 days later, 10 days later, 15 days later, then I catch my push. Personally, I don't like that kind of trading. I want to jump in, and I'm trying to get so good at trading the squeeze that I can jump in and then boom, a half hour later, at the latest, maybe a day later, I'm getting pushed into a nice profit. That timing comes from our lower time frame signals. We take our daily squeeze. There's our ticking time bomb. From there, what I got to look for, from the 5-minute up to the 15, up to the 30, all across my lower time frames, I want as many buy signals as possible. What I don't want on any lower time frame would be a sell signal. In my book, the perfect setup looks exactly like Best Buy from last Thursday. Do they work every time? Of course not, right? That's trading. But for my style of trading, if there's a holy grail, that's it. The daily squeeze on Best Buy, it's perfect. You have the structure above the trailing stop, the squeeze, the buy signals, perfect 12 out of 12. But I can't stress enough, all that does is just set the stage. Where's my trigger? How can I call for timing? Look at all my lower time frames. Inside that daily squeeze, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, the 30, the 15-minute, and the 5-minute, they're all cranking out that buy signal. So when I look at a name like, say, Autodesk here, great looking daily squeeze, the sell signal on the 15-minute and the 5-minute, I'd like to see them get rid of that. We will never see a daily squeeze fire to the upside. We will never see something make a move like Best Buy with a 15-minute sell signal. Let them cancel that out. Better yet, Let them flip that 15-minute chart into a buy signal, and then you can call for the timing. I think a really important part of trading the squeeze. If I find the perfect 15-minute squeeze, I'm going to check my 5-minute, I'm going to check the 2-minute. If I find the perfect weekly squeeze, I'm going to check the daily time frame, the 4-hour, etc., etc. All right, got a question here on the futures. Okay, Maddie, great question. So what I like to use for the futures trades is the ATR trailing stop. Now, I've turned that into that magenta line. So whenever you guys see that magenta line on my charts, that's the ATR trailing stop. But the default one, if you go to studies and we search for ATR trailing stop, throw that bad boy on here. The settings that I use are a period of 9, a factor of 2.9, and average type exponential. Period of 9, factor of 2.9, average type exponential. So throw that on the chart, and then let's go look at the futures. Any squeeze here on the ES? Okay, perfect. We got a 5-minute squeeze. I messed something up. What did I do? Oh, my bad. Maybe I should have a cup of coffee. Period of 9, factor of 2.4. My bad. Period 9, factor 2.4. Come on, Taylor, wake up. All right, so throw on the trailing stop. All right, now on the 5-minute chart here. Nope, something's still off. What am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong? Real time, modified. Period of 9. Factor of 2.4. First trade long. Exponential. Okay, there we go. All right. So I can use a trailing stop in 2 different ways. One, as an actual exit. But then better yet for me, I'm using that trailing stop as a confirmation of path of least resistance. Got a 5-minute squeeze here on the S&P futures. Right now, we're trading below that trailing stop. I can't get long, or I don't want to get long, below that trailing stop. Let me find maybe a lower time frame. Here we go. Perfect example. 2-minute squeeze. All right, there we go. So I'll make it a little bigger. Okay, perfect. So I got my 2-minute squeeze. I'm going to check all my indicators. Right, we are above the trailing stop. Ideal if I want to get long. Structure is bullish. The squeeze, or all the above. If I jump in and buy the S&P futures here on that 2-minute squeeze, at the very latest meaning, hey, I might take it off a bit earlier if I happen to see a few things I don't quite love. But at the very latest, if I jump in here and get long in that 2-minute squeeze, my exit will be a shift of the trailing stop. If they take it down to the ATR trailing stop, they break it, and then you get this shift. The shift meaning now we're trading below the trailing stop. I'm going to take that trade off. So imagine earlier this morning, I got short back here. I'm short in the 2-minute squeeze. And then they shift the trailing stop in the favor of the bulls. I'm going to take off that trade. And a lot of times you can find a squeeze and then anchor to your trailing stop for the exit. That'll put you in a pretty good position to manage your risk. If I can buy it not too far from the trailing stop, and then I can use that trailing stop as my exit, pretty often it's not going to be a big painful loss. You can use it for context. All right, are we above it or below it? If we're above it, it might have an easier time going higher. And then, of course, you can use it as your actual stop. So if I bought the S&P futures here, all right, I'm buying it at 52.77. If my trailing stop is down here at 52.75.60, I might put my exit order down here at 52.75. Then I can walk away and I can go live my life. And I don't have much of a life, so I'm not going to walk away. I'll keep watching. But I got my squeeze. I jump in and get long. And now think of risk reward. If I buy the futures here at 52.77, where's my upside target? That green line. I can look at my bull target label down here. I'm looking for about 52.81. My reward is about $4 or $5. If my exit is under the trailing stop, I'm looking at about $2 of risk. Things like that. You can use it as a path of least resistance tool, or you can use it as the actual exit. I like to do both. Hey guys, give me 10 seconds. Let me go see if these guys got to get into my office. I'll be right back. No, you're good. Come on in. Yeah, you're good. All right, folks, I have got to run here. They got to drill a giant hole in my wall. So what I'm thinking is for tomorrow morning's prep session, I think we're going to have the construction crew here pretty much all week. So what do y'all think about kicking off the prep session maybe a bit earlier tomorrow? Anybody down to kick things off at, say, 7 o'clock Central? I think if we can start tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central, we should get a good full hour uninterrupted. No, you're good, man. Come on. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. But all right, guys, I got to run. As always, I appreciate your time. Sorry for cutting things a little bit short. And I think I'll have a little caffeine tomorrow, so I'm not I'm not forgetting names on my watch list. But one more look here across the board. S&P futures have a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute sell signal. And a good rule of thumb, you don't tend to get huge moves higher with a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute sell signal. So I've got to see them get rid of all of that before I can jump in here and buy it. And then NQ. Same thing here for the NQ. All right, 15-minute sell signal, 30-minute, 1 hour. If I want to get long, they got to get rid of all that nonsense first. And you might be asking, all right, well, you've got some sell signals. How come you don't short it? I don't want to short this market. Could it work? Of course it could work. Have there been a few decent shorts here and there? There's been a few decent shorts here and there. I think until things dramatically change, the easier trade will be let them pull it back a bit, let them take it a little bit lower. Then I want to look for that turn. They take the 5-minute from bearish to bullish. They take the 15-minute from bearish to bullish. They're hitting the 30. They're hitting the 1 hour. When everything clears out and turns bullish, then I'm jumping in looking for a squeeze, looking for a spot to get long. And the spot to get long might be, with a little patience here, if they can clean things up, it might be this 2-hour squeeze here on the NQ. But I can't buy that right now. Compare the current 2-hour squeeze to the 2-hour squeeze you had back here. They're very different. Back here, you had a buy signal. You got the positive shift of the trailing stop, momentum, better structure. I'm going to look for a spot like that to buy the bad boy. But all right, y'all, I got to run. Tomorrow morning, we'll kick things off a bit early. 7 a.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I'll get a link going for you in the morning, and I look forward to seeing you then. Adios.